Listen closely, because after this, your excuses won't survive. I'm about to give you a 3-day challenge so powerful, your brain will never go back to who you used to be. No fluff. No motivation garbage. This is a mental reset button, and it's going to shock you. Your thoughts are not facts. They're habits. That's the truth nobody told you. You didn't wake up lazy. You didn't wake up broken. You were conditioned, trained, programmed by years of repetition. The voice in your head that says, "You're not good enough," didn't come from the universe. It came from repetition. Every time you've said, "I'll do it later," you taught your brain that your goals don't matter. Every time you said, "I'm just tired," when you were scared, you wired fear into your identity. And every time you believed the lie that your circumstances control your life, you gave away your power. Let me make it brutally clear. Your brain doesn't care about truth, it cares about patterns. If you repeat fear, you become fear. If you repeat excuses, you become the excuse. If you repeat doubt, you become invisible. That's why most people never change. Because they think they need motivation, they think they need more time. They think they need someone to give them permission. You don't need more time, you don't need more talent, you need one thing. A pattern interrupt so shocking, your mind doesn't recognize itself anymore. You've been hypnotized by your own voice. Not your real voice, the one that was born for more, but the one that's been trained to settle, to shrink, to hesitate. And the most dangerous part? You think that voice is you. It's not. It's a loop. A recycled lie you've heard so many times. It got a name tag and moved in. You keep saying, "I'm just not that disciplined." No, you're just consistent with the wrong thoughts. You say, "I'm too tired." No, you're just trained to give up before it gets uncomfortable. The mind is a machine, it runs whatever software you install. And guess what most people are running? Fear, XE. Delay, X. What will they think, XZ? You have to uninstall the trash, delete the story, and reboot the system. And this doesn't take 10 years. It doesn't even take 10 days. It starts the moment you call out the lie. It starts the moment you say, "This thought is not the truth." You say it out loud. You declare war on every sentence that's been sabotaging your life. Because the brain listens when you speak with force. When you whisper lies to yourself, you stay weak. When you shout back with truth, your brain starts listening again. You think confidence comes from success. Wrong. Confidence comes from evidence. The evidence that you didn't listen to the voice that wanted to quit. The evidence that you did what scared you. The evidence that you showed up when you had every reason not to. You're not stuck because of your situation. You're stuck because you keep repeating the thoughts that created the situation. And every single time you think them, you deepen the path. Your brain builds highways for fear, neural roads for hesitation, and you keep driving on them like you don't have a choice. But you do. You can stop the car. You can smash the wheel. You can grab a hammer and destroy every mental bridge that leads you back to weakness. Because you were not born tired. You were not born insecure. You were not born to stay quiet and play small and fit in with people who don't even know themselves. You were born to choose. And the second you choose to stop believing the lie, you start building the new truth. The truth that you are not your thoughts. The truth that your emotions do not decide your actions. The truth that one moment of insane honesty with yourself can tear down a decade of mental chains. This isn't self-help, this is self-rescue. Because no one's coming to rewire your brain for you. You have to do it. You have to take the thoughts that ruin your focus, your energy, your drive, and rip them out of your mind like they're weeds choking your future. You can't negotiate with negative thoughts. You can't politely ask your fears to leave. You evict them. You grab them by the throat and say, "You don't live here anymore." And you say it again and again and again, until the brain gets it, until the neural paths collapse, until your identity upgrades from scared to unstoppable. Because that's what this is, an upgrade. From old wiring to new patterns. From repeating failure to executing power. From being controlled by your thoughts to commanding them like a general in war. You've got 60,000 thoughts a day, and you've been letting the worst ones run the show. But today you flip the script. You write new code. You burn the script and speak a new one. Because the old one, it's done. It's dead. It doesn't serve you anymore. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are not your fear. You are the rewriter of your mind. And it starts right now. Every time a negative or limiting thought appears, you must say out loud, "That's not me anymore." You don't whisper it. You don't think it. You speak it like your life depends on it, because it does. That sentence is not a cute affirmation. It's a weapon, a loaded phrase that shoots straight into your subconscious and rewrites the code that's been holding you hostage. Your brain has been hijacked by repetition. Repetition of failure, repetition of hesitation, repetition of the same internal insults you've heard since you were a kid. I'll never be good enough. I always mess this up. I don't have what it takes. And the worst part, you believed it. You thought it was the truth. But it was just repetition. You don't break repetition with silence. You break it with shock. Verbal disruption, mental interruption. You speak out loud because your brain pays more attention to what you say than what you think. Thoughts float, words hit, words command, words create structure. Thoughts come and go, but the words you speak, those are instructions to your nervous system. That's why saying, "That's not me anymore" works. It slams the brakes on the autopilot version of you, the version that's been driving you into the same ditch over and over. When you say it, you create a glitch in the system. And that glitch is the beginning of freedom. When your mind says you're not ready, you don't argue with it. You cut it off and say, "That's not me anymore." When the doubt creeps in at 2 a.m. and says you always fail, you don't let it finish the sentence. You snap back, "That's not me anymore." Every time you stop the thought mid-cycle, you weaken the neural pathway it lives on. You're not just talking back. You're deleting the script. You are reprogramming the mind in real time, and the more you do it, the faster the identity shift happens. You've spent years letting your brain speak to you like you're nothing. Now it's your turn to speak back like you're everything. You don't need confidence to start doing this. You don't need belief. You just need volume and repetition. You say it even when you don't believe it yet, especially when you don't believe it yet, because that's the moment the programming starts to crack. That's the moment you start to pull the wires out of the old system. You can't transform silently. You don't defeat old thoughts with new ones inside your head. You need volume. You need interruptions. You need to shock your system awake. Most people walk around under a spell, a mental sleep mode. And they never snap out of it because they never say something loud enough to wake themselves up. You must speak to break the spell. You must speak to override the noise. You must speak to remind your soul who it really is. The mind doesn't change through logic, it changes through emotion. And the fastest way to inject emotion into your transformation is through the sound of your own voice. Your voice is an activation key, a trigger, a portal. It takes the invisible and makes it real. So when you say, "That's not me anymore," you're not just making a statement. You're building a wall that stops the past from entering your future. You don't ask permission. You don't wait for the mood. You don't need motivation. You just speak. You declare. You affirm it like it's already true. Because the brain doesn't know the difference between reality and belief. It just follows instructions. It follows repetition. So if you keep saying, "That's not me anymore," every time an old thought appears, guess what? The brain starts deleting that old identity. It starts looking for new wiring to match your words. And that's where the real shift happens. Because once the brain starts aligning with your new declarations, your habits follow, your energy follows, your results follow. But it all begins with speaking the phrase that shuts the old voice down. No more negotiating with fear. No more debating with doubt. No more explaining your pain. You cut it off at the root with one sentence. That's not me anymore. It's not just about saying it once. You say it every time. You say it until the thought doesn't show up anymore. You say it until your body feels it. You say it until your emotions obey. You say it until the lies start breaking like glass. That phrase becomes your shield, your sword, your reset button. You say it in the morning, you say it at night, you say it when no one's around, you say it when the whole world is telling you to stay small, because you're not waiting for the world to validate your transformation, you're building it from your own voice. Nobody needs to believe in your future as long as you do. And if you don't yet, fine, use your voice to build the belief, brick by brick. That's the key. That's the trick nobody teaches you. You don't wait for belief. You build it with repetition, with authority, with refusal. The moment a toxic thought rises up, you slam it with, "That's not me anymore," and you move forward like it never existed. You're not crazy for talking to yourself. You're powerful, you're intentional, you're rewiring thousands of thoughts that have kept you on pause for way too long. And you're not whispering your way out of the hole. You're roaring your way out. This is not therapy. This is war. This is you versus every single lie that tried to bury you, and your voice is the weapon they never saw coming. You don't need a course. You don't need a guru. You don't need the perfect journal or some secret technique. You need to wake up to the fact that you've had the power all along, and it starts with the words you say to yourself when nobody's watching.